When you think of narcissists, you might imagine loud, arrogant, and obvious behavior. But with female narcissists, the danger is often silent, and that's what makes them so destructive. They don't always attack you directly. Instead, they use subtle weapons: emotional withdrawal, manipulation wrapped in kindness, and control disguised as love. These tactics are hard to spot at first because they hide in everyday interactions, leaving you confused, second-guessing, and wondering if the problem is you. In this video, we'll break down the silent weapons female narcissists use to control and drain you without ever raising their voice. Once you see these patterns, you'll never unsee them, and that's how you protect yourself. Make sure you subscribe now because what you'll learn here could be the key to recognizing the manipulation before it destroys your peace. Withholding affection as control. One of the most common silent weapons a female narcissist uses is withholding affection. At first, she might overwhelm you with love, attention, and validation, making you feel like you finally found someone who truly sees you. But once she has you emotionally invested, the warmth begins to disappear. The hugs get colder, the conversations shorter, and the praise turns into silence. Suddenly, the affection you once took for granted becomes something you have to earn. This tactic is powerful because it conditions you to chase her approval. You start working harder to get back to that sweet version of her, believing that if you do or say the right thing, she'll return to the way she was in the beginning. But that's exactly the trap. By pulling away, she gains control because your energy shifts from protecting yourself to desperately trying to win back what she's withholding. Over time, this game drains you, leaving you dependent on her unpredictable affection to feel secure. The silent treatment as punishment. Another silent weapon female narcissists rely on is the silent treatment. Unlike a healthy person who might take space to cool off, a narcissist uses silence as a deliberate form of punishment and control. She suddenly stops responding to your texts, ignores your presence in the room, or acts like you don't exist. The message is clear. You did something wrong, and until you fix it, you won't get her attention back. This tactic is brutal because it creates emotional starvation. You're left in the dark, overthinking every detail, wondering what you did to deserve the silence. Instead of focusing on whether her behavior is fair, you focus on how to earn her back. That's the trap. It shifts all responsibility onto you, even if she's the one at fault. Silent treatment works because it leaves you desperate for resolution, but what it really does is reinforce her power. By recognizing this as manipulation rather than conflict resolution, you stop falling into the cycle of chasing answers that will never come, honestly. Backhanded compliments and subtle put-downs. A female narcissist doesn't always insult you directly. She often hides her criticism inside backhanded compliments or subtle digs. It might sound like, "You're actually smarter than I thought," or "You look good for once." On the surface, it passes as praise, but underneath, it chips away at your confidence. These little remarks are designed to make you second-guess yourself, to leave you unsure whether you should feel flattered or offended. What makes this tactic so effective is its deniability. If you call her out, she'll often laugh it off or accuse you of being too sensitive. That leaves you doubting your own perception, while her insult slips by unchecked. Over time, these subtle put-downs build up, eroding your self-esteem without you even realizing how deeply they've taken root. The danger here is that you start to internalize her words as truth. But the moment you recognize these compliments for what they really are, disguised attacks, you reclaim your power by refusing to absorb them. Real love doesn't come wrapped in hidden barbs. Emotional withholding in public versus private. One of the most disorienting silent weapons female narcissists use is the split between how they treat you in public versus in private. In front of others, she may act warm, supportive, even affectionate, making it seem like the relationship is perfectly healthy. People on the outside see the charming version of her, the one who praises you or plays the role of the caring partner. But once the doors close, everything shifts. She withholds affection, ignores your needs, and withdraws emotionally, leaving you feeling invisible. This dual reality is devastating because it isolates you. When you try to explain your experience to others, they often struggle to believe you since they only see her positive side. That's the trap. It makes you question yourself and doubt your own reality. You start thinking, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem, because the public version of her doesn't match the private one you live with. The power of this tactic lies in its invisibility. By controlling the narrative in public and punishing you in private, she not only keeps you off balance, but also ensures that no one else can validate what you're going through. Recognizing this split is a critical step in understanding that the problem isn't you, it's the mask she wears. Passive aggressive control. A female narcissist often avoids direct confrontation, but that doesn't mean she avoids conflict. It just means she hides it in passive-aggressive behavior. Instead of telling you what's wrong, she leaves little clues meant to frustrate and confuse you. Maybe she forgets to do something she promised, gives you backhanded responses like, "I'm fine," when she's clearly not, or does things she knows will irritate you but frames them as innocent. The point of passive aggression is to maintain control without being openly accountable. You're left feeling unsettled and guilty, even though she never says outright what the issue is. This keeps you chasing clarity while she avoids taking responsibility for her feelings or actions. Over time, this tactic erodes your confidence because you start questioning yourself more than the behavior. You wonder if you're overreacting or reading too much into things, when in reality, the passive aggression is deliberate. Recognizing it allows you to stop playing detective and see it as what it really is: a manipulation tactic designed to keep you off balance. Selective empathy. One of the most deceptive silent weapons of a female narcissist is selective empathy. She knows how to show compassion when it benefits her, but it's never consistent or genuine. For example, if showing care will make her look good in public, she'll be overly attentive. Or if comforting you helps her regain control, she'll suddenly seem nurturing. But when you truly need her emotional support in private, she often turns cold, dismissive, or even mocks your pain. This tactic works because it keeps you hooked on the hope that her caring side is the real her. You hold on to those rare moments of kindness, convincing yourself she can be loving if only you do things right. But in reality, her empathy is a tool, not a natural response. She chooses when to turn it on and off depending on how it serves her needs. Over time, selective empathy leaves you confused and doubting your expectations. You may start to believe you're asking for too much, when in truth, emotional consistency is the bare minimum in any healthy relationship. Recognizing selective empathy for what it is, a calculated weapon, helps you stop clinging to the illusion and see the pattern clearly. Weaponizing insecurities. One of the most cutting silent weapons a female narcissist uses is taking your insecurities, the things you've shared with her in trust, and turning them against you. Early in the relationship, she listens closely, encouraging you to open up about your fears, doubts, or past wounds. It feels safe at first, like she understands you better than anyone else. But later, those same vulnerabilities are used as ammunition. It might come out as a subtle jab in an argument, "No wonder you always feel like you're not good enough," or a sarcastic comment in public that exposes a private weakness. She may even pretend it's a joke, but deep down, you feel the sting. Over time, these repeated attacks chip away at your self-worth, keeping you dependent on her validation to feel whole again. The cruelty of this tactic lies in the betrayal. Something that should have been met with care is instead used as leverage. By recognizing when your insecurities are being turned into weapons, you take back the power she tries to hold over you. Boundaries and self-respect become your shield against manipulation. Control through withdrawal and return. One of the most dangerous silent weapons of a female narcissist is the cycle of withdrawal and return. She pulls away, emotionally or even physically, just long enough to make you panic, doubt yourself, and crave her presence again. Then, once you're desperate for reconciliation, she suddenly returns with charm, affection, or apologies as if nothing happened. This push-pull dynamic is powerful because it mirrors addiction. You're starved of attention, then given just enough of it to feel relief, which makes you cling even tighter the next time she withdraws. The cycle conditions you to accept mistreatment because you're always chasing the high of her return. What makes this tactic especially destructive is how it confuses love with instability. You start believing that tension and uncertainty are normal parts of connection, when in reality, they're weapons of control. By seeing this pattern for what it is, a manipulation tactic, you break the cycle and realize that real love doesn't disappear only to come back on someone else's terms. The silent weapons of female narcissists are dangerous not because they're loud, but because they're subtle. They don't break you in one big moment, they chip away at you over time, using silence, withdrawal, guilt, and hidden digs to keep you questioning yourself. But once you recognize these patterns for what they are, you take away their power. You stop chasing affection, stop doubting your worth, and start setting boundaries that protect your peace. If this video resonated with you, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into the hidden psychology of toxic relationships. And I want to ask you, which of these silent weapons have you experienced firsthand, and how did it change the way you see that person?